do a moon festival down there once a month, and they get like a lot of cool artists in and things. And he had done this like noir, like really dark art that he turned in. It was intentionally a tarot deck. And then that kind of like got me a little bit more interested, because I was never against it or anything. It wasn't part of my personal practice, you know? And it just, it was something that just kind of came out. So do you want to split them? Here you go. You can cut. And if you want to, actually, if you want to pull one?
Should I?
Yeah. What do you got? Oh, it's
upside down. Ooh.
Upside down 6 of swords. Okay. Cool. Everyone, people feel differently about tarot. It's a lot of the symbology is actually, Judeo-Christian and some other things. And it's really just even, Carl Jung had developed his own tarot deck.
Love him. Yeah.
Right. And so it's just interesting. It has nothing to do with, demonic practices or, telling the future. It's an opportunity. We only see 5 to 10% of the information that we're getting based off of the story that we're telling, because of the identities and other things that we've told ourselves. Yeah. And so it just gives the opportunity to start seeing, like, what is it that I'm actually paying attention to, not knowingly. So that's the way I look at it, at the very least. And people can have deeper meaning to them if they wish. And my deeper meanings, I really remain where I am. And I just tell people, take what you want, leave the rest. Yeah. I'm not saying do it one way or the other. Totally. How do you feel about the 6 of swords? Swords, of course, are thoughts and air.
I haven't studied the tarot as much, honestly, just a little bit. But I know the swords are mind, and something that's been alive in my life is deepening into the recognition of trusting myself and acting on impulse. I'm a rising Aries, so we like to go fast sometimes. Acting on impulse without overthinking. So I think when I see the mind card, the mental, the swords, and then reversed, I feel like that's a symbol of not getting wrapped up in the mental world.
It's interesting that they're on the water, and it looks to be that there's calm waters in front of them and rough waters behind, with a small form, a larger form, kind of like wrapped in cloaks, with the 6 swords in the boat, going from rough waters to calm waters. Is sometimes what I think I see in that. Of course, it's upside down, so that means it's somewhat reversed in meaning. Yeah. Unless we drew it for the viewers, and then it's right side up for them. But I'm not going to get into the complexity of what that is. Anyways, where was your first breakthrough? Okay, so you put down the marijuana, and then you kind of like dealt with all the demons. What was the first? What was the first biggest impact? First biggest impact.
Yes. So the first biggest impact was, you mean after I put down the substance? Or
whichever one. Okay. I know from that statement you had said had happened. I'm just kind of curious, because I think the people that haven't gone through it yet don't know what it looks like, or don't know, there's this whole misconception. Yeah. And even when I was looking for mental health help, that's kind of why I developed my whole philosophy. I can show it to you at some point in time. It's the integral person theory is what I'm calling it right now, but it's kind of a physiological, cognitive, and emotional connection. Yeah. There's some spiritual or consciousness aspects that go over top of that. And then I build each one of them out with another Venn diagram of knowledge, access, and control. And so it's like you got your physiological, which is like our neurology and kind of like the neurochemical pharmacology we have from that. And we've got the cognitive, which is our thought process, constructs, storyline. And then we have the emotional state, which is very important and not looked into very much. And in each one of those, I use knowledge, access, and control. We don't know what we don't know, so we can't be curious about that which we don't know exists. Once we gain the curiosity from seeing it, then we can start developing access to it. Yeah. If you don't know it's there, you can't have access. And unless you gain enough access, then you can't get to something that looks like control, right? And then there's like the type of intimacy then that you can have with self, as you see all these things show up in the different aspects that now consciousness can now have kind of metacognition over, and start saying, here's what's going on here in this moment, and kind of focused on time, memory of like what's actually happening, what's going on right now. So for me, I think the biggest input was recognizing that I do, in fact, have the ability to analyze and reframe what my mind says. That was that one, and the ability to actually recognize, see the emotion that I've learned to use in this pattern, and eventually get to the point in time before my neurology hits that learned emotional state, that my conscious awareness can catch myself. And it's almost like right now when I walk through the world, I don't know if you have this experience, it's almost like I see prior versions of myself reacting and spinning off. And just like as it's happened, I was like, oh man, if you would have caught me 6 months ago, boy, that would have been an interesting event. You know, what got you kind of to the point in time where you were like the first biggest impact.
That I realized in my journey. So I'm just gonna,
or realized afterward, like, wow, I didn't realize how big that was.
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of the thing too, because everyone expects this big impact to happen, and then bam, like now we absolutely know it's there.
Yeah.
But it's not really the way it works. It's something you recognize almost, it's some point in time afterward. So any thoughts on that?
So what comes to mind is one of the core philosophies from the yoga tradition, specifically from the Upanishads, and that is Atman equals Brahman. So that is the soul is equal to God.
Okay.
And this was a foundational piece that woke up in me. So I had thought that my upbringing and the conditions of reality around me, I was bad, I was wrong.
Welcome back to Trauma Philosopher. We've got with us today Ashley Coleman, who's an amazing yogi, Reiki, and rather spiritual healer with a whole bunch of other things that she focuses on. We really wanted to drop in. She does some amazing things with recovery. And right now, one of her main jobs is working at a local recovery.
What happened here? Let's see. Okay, we're good. I had take it from the top. For some reason, wasn't getting the sound in there.
Welcome to Trauma Philosopher. We've got Ashley Coleman with us today. We've been trying to get this particular recording going all day, and it's been met with this, it seems like a tremendous amount of resistance. I was stuck. I was late here.